So in the Ace Attorney games, there is a recurring character, a volatile, elderly woman called Wendy Oldbag. She has significant roles in at least 3 of the Ace Attorney games, and will occasionally cameo in others. First, some context. It's a running gag throughout the series that Oldbag will appear in often quite random job roles. This varies from when we first meet her, when she's working as a security guard, and her last appearance in the series, when she's standing in to perform in a costume for a kids' stage show. Crime seems to follow her, and she almost always ends up as a witness the player has to cross-examine in order to progress. She will have testimony regarding a murder, but will often distort the facts of what happened, and as a result is quite a difficult witness for the player to overcome and get into the truth. This is made worse by Oldbag's treatment of the 2 protagonists who interact with her. Phoenix Wright in the mainline games, and Miles Edgeworth in the spin-off Investigations games which are based on him. When it comes to Edgeworth, Oldbag is completely romantically infatuated with him, much to Edgeworth's chagrin, and this makes it difficult for Oldbag to focus on the case. She'll often go off topic, trying to flirt with Edgeworth, and everybody's favourite prosecutor will struggle, but eventually get her back on track. With Phoenix Wright, on the other hand, she just seems to fucking hate him, and often won't give him the truth of a case because he's defending someone suspected of killing a celebrity she likes. Which is a motive I can at least understand, even if it is ridiculous. But other times, regardless of this, she just straight up fucking hates Phoenix for no reason, and it's great. It's great. Anyway, when being questioned, Oldbag has a habit of massively going off topic to rant on either her past or just her general thoughts on the world today. When this happens, usually the text speed ramps up in order to better make the player feel like they're being ranted at by Oldbag, and there is text box after text box of her rambling throughout all her appearances. So, I thought I'd slow this text down and analyse each bit to see what juicy Oldbag lore I could find, and better understand who this mysterious woman really is. This is a really valuable use of my time. Join me as I analyse what is revealed about Oldbag in this text, and as a result, make an important contribution to the preservation of video game history and art as a whole. Oldbag's life as a child seemed nice at times, but came with its fair share of difficulties. In Turnabout Samurai, Oldbag asks Phoenix, "Didn't your mama teach you any sense?" implying she had a strong mother figure present in her upbringing, who perhaps instilled in Oldbag her strong opinions regarding love and the behaviour of young people. Oldbag does seem to have been raised with quite traditional values. I can find only one reference to Oldbag's father in the games. It comes up in Turnabout Samurai, when the court is debating whether Cody Hatkins, a 7-year-old, is capable of having killed the victim of the case. The court is unsure, as they debate whether due to his age and size, it would have been possible for Cody to wield the murder weapon, a large spear. Oldbag argues he is perfectly able to have done it, saying, "When I was that age, I could pin my old man in 10 seconds, tops." I feel like Oldbag's mother being the strong opinionated parent, while her dad being a weaker person, fits in line with the woman she grew up to be, and her treatment of certain characters, like Phoenix. It seems she was picked on at school, with children making fun of her last name. She mentions that the captain of the chess club, who she had a huge crush on, also teased her, which brought her to tears. She also recounts a time when it was her turn to clean the class hamster's cage, only for the hamster to die shortly after. This led to her being named the Queen Reaper by her classmates. Based on this, Oldbag seems to think she has a curse, which causes everyone she adores to die, such as celebrity victims in 2 of the series' cases, Jack Hammer and Juan Corrida. Later in life, Oldbag claims she took on another nickname, Eagle-Eyed Wendy, due to her excellent eyesight and her, in her own words, ability to spot a good man from 100 paces away as I walk down the street, and that she never let a good man pass her by. She also said that, of course, these men will notice her too and try and make a move.
I mean, I might try some of my moves.
Yeah, right.
Oh, my moves are nothing, are they?
But she says that she was not that easy and was a careful girl with a judgmental eye. Advances from men might not be that surprising if her description of her younger self is true, saying, "When I was a young maiden, I was so beautiful, even the flowers of the fields blushed." Lovely. This aside, these past experiences do imply she has had a tendency of becoming infatuated with men since she was young, and this has continued into her senior years. This is backed up by Oldbag mentioning that a hobby of hers when she was younger was writing, in her own words, beautiful love poems. On a side note, Oldbag seems to have thought of herself as quite the fashionista when she was younger, stating, "Ever since I was a young maiden," there's that word again, "I could be spotted wearing the most stylish hat on my head." Also, she's quite into cooking. She tells Edgeworth in the final case of Ace Attorney Investigations that it is her dream to cook him a home-cooked meal, stating, "A long time ago, they used to say that I could make the most delicious meal out of any ingredient you threw in front of me. Oh, I was a star in the kitchen back then." Oldbag's other hobbies included pressing flowers and reading the stars. She also implies, in Turnabout Samurai, that while she is now a security guard, that in her younger years she was a small star at Golden Studios, a TV production company. I mean, arguably, if you're a small star, you're not really a star. So perhaps she had a minor role, or just generally some roles in some TV shows. Thank you for sticking with me so far. This is where it gets juicy. Eventually, Oldbag got married. She mentions this in Turnabout Ablaze, where she says, "Speaking of missing, there's the matter of my husband. Can you believe when we got married, he said, 'I guess I'm stuck marrying you.'" It doesn't sound like it was the happiest relationship, which is perhaps understandable given the volatile nature of Oldbag's personality. We can also gather from this that her husband eventually left, leaving Oldbag to freely pursue her romantic pursuits, with various celebrity crushes, and Edgeworth, of course. Oldbag also has a son, and I'd say they're most likely a result of this aforementioned marriage, although I can't find any clear evidence on this. When Phoenix first meets her, Oldbag mentions her son, but says he hasn't called for a unspecified amount of time. You really get the sense it's been a long, long while. Later, in the third case of Ace Attorney Investigations, Oldbag rants about someone called Yun, saying, "He went and got into an arranged marriage with an 18-year-old. I don't see what he sees in her at all. I think that this Yun is her son." It can be seen that Oldbag is resentful towards young people, especially young men. In fact, in Farewell My Turnabout, she tells a quite, well, disturbing story. Oldbag says she was once by a small footbridge which had a sign next to it which said, "Beware, bridge out." A young boy came along to the bridge, and Oldbag told him it was dangerous and not to cross it. The kid made light of the situation and said he'd be careful and only walk on the in part of the bridge, since the out part was the dangerous bit. When thinking back to this, Oldbag says, "Well, I really let him have it then, and knocked him clear off that bridge. Honestly, kids these days don't know right from wrong, I'll tell you." So, she literally pushed a child off a bridge. This woman is a menace. I think that Oldbag's resentment towards young people, which extends to Phoenix and Maya and their interactions with her, has a deep psychological basis. I believe that due to Oldbag's stern, often insufferable nature, the relationship between her and her son became strained and distant, with her son cutting most contact with her. Once, Oldbag said to Phoenix, "Know this, whippersnapper. This old lady never forgets to slight or insult." I think having someone with such a bitter personality as your mother would be awful, frankly, and it's understandable why her son would now keep his distance. Across all her ramblings, a surprisingly coherent picture of Oldbag emerges. A woman shaped by a strict mother, a timid father, and a childhood marked by teasing and misfortune that fed into her lifelong belief that she's cursed. Her younger years were spent juggling romantic daydreams, fashion, cooking, perhaps a minor brush with stardom, all of these which fed her inflated self-image and ongoing infatuations with good men. As she aged, her bitterness crystallised towards youth, towards those who wronged her, and perhaps most painfully, towards a son who has long since drifted away. This has left Wendy as someone lonely, stubborn, proud, and clinging desperately to the fragments of the life she once imagined for herself. All that being said, I kinda like Oldbag. I know she gets a lot of hate due to her hostile personality and being difficult as a witness, but I can't help but smile every time I play these games and she pops up. I think she's quite nostalgic for me, and it always reminds me of when I first played these games years ago when I was a kid. Also, in her favour, can we recall how in the last case of Ace Attorney Investigations, she gives, however unknowingly, Edrith key evidence which helps him take down Kirkus Alba, the game's main villain. That's right, Oldbag was partly responsible for taking down an international smuggling ring. What have you done today? Sadly, Oldbag hasn't made a proper appearance in a game since Ace Attorney Investigations in 2009. Apparently she appeared in a non-canon promotional skit to promote the Turnabout Time Traveller DLC case for Spirit of Justice, but again, that was non-canon. So essentially, we haven't experienced the glory and elderly wisdom of a proper Wendy Oldbag appearance in, as of writing, 16 years. Humanity truly peaked at the era of Oldbag, and may we one day experience the resurgence of that mighty woman of many job roles, endless bitterness, and love of men. Thank you for watching this very vital video. I hope it's provided you with new information to share with your family, friends, peers, colleagues, and loved ones. How fascinated they will be. Did I miss any Oldbag lore? Please let me know. Bye!